Welcome to the Business of Apps podcast. We invite app industry professionals to cover various topics. We promise to do our best to keep it both insightful but brief. In this episode, we have Gary Danks, General Manager for AIM at Kochava. Gary, welcome to the Business of Apps podcast.
Hi, Art. Thanks for inviting me onto the podcast.
It is great to have you on. Thank you for coming. All right, we're going to begin the show with setting the stage. The field of app marketing is full of jargon. Just from the top of my head, a few acronyms for you. ASO, CPI, CPA, LTV, FBI. Sorry, the last one was obviously a joke. Here's another one, MMM, which stands for Marketing Mix Modeling. Do you know what it is? Well, in this episode, Gary will explain it for you, showing how it works and why it's important for you to use it in your app business. But first, Gary, let's begin with talking about you. What is your background?
Okay, so I've been in mobile marketing for over 20 years now. So I started in 2004, so even before the iPhone, which was particularly hard. So that was back in a small business in Soho in London, and we used to specialize in producing ringtones and wallpapers for record companies, mainly sort of Warner Brothers and EMI and so on. And then from there, I went on to be head of mobile for ITV. And then from there, I went on to be managing director for a large German ad network called Yock, where I was managing director for about 8 years. I then followed that by founding my own business, which was called Machine Advertising, which specialized in detecting ad fraud within mobile marketing. So we specialized in detecting all sorts of different types of ad fraud for large enterprise businesses, mainly gaming companies, and travel businesses. And then in 2023, at the beginning of 2023, Kochava acquired my business, and we now, me and my team, who are still based in London, now work for Kochava, the MMP.
Great, yeah, that's a really interesting trajectory. Tell us about Kochava.
Well, Kochava is one of the big four or five, I suppose, in terms of a mobile measurement partner. So they're very well known in North America and quite well known in Europe and other parts of the world as well. But most people would know AppsFlyer and Adjust. They're our direct competitors. We have a broader product set to those. So we obviously have AIM, which is my business unit for marketing mix modeling. We have ASA campaign management tools. We also have a whole range of tools for connected TV and for large media owners, for publishers as well. We employ about 200 people and we service over 1,000 clients globally. So at the core, Kochava is a measurement company, a digital marketing measurement company.
If I remember correctly, I heard it somewhere that in a translation from Hebrew, Kochava means star. That's a really neat detail for the company brand.
Yeah.
Gary,
Right.
could you explain what marketing mix modeling is and how it differs from other marketing analytics tools? What makes MMM particularly effective for unlocking growth?
Yeah, sure, of course. I mean, it's probably the number one question we get asked all of the time because it is a relatively new methodology within our domain, which is app marketing. Marketing mix modeling has actually been around for many decades, and large sort of enterprise businesses and big advertisers from Coca-Cola and Ford have been using it since the 60s. But it's only been in recent sort of years that it's been coming to the front of performance marketing and more specifically app marketing. But the reason why we get asked so much about it and what it is because it is quite complex. It's quite to understand what it is because it's deeply rooted in data science and machine learning. but it is crucial to understand it. So what exactly is MMM? At a high level, it's a methodology used to measure and analyze the impact of various marketing activities on your conversions. Now, where the confusion comes in is that it sounds quite familiar to the industry standard of last touch attribution, but to truly grasp marketing mix modeling, or MMM, it's important to distinguish it from last touch attribution. So the real question isn't just what is marketing mix modeling, but rather how does it differ from last touch attribution. Now, by answering this, we can begin to understand, or clients and the audience can to begin to understand the true value of MMM. So let's define both methodologies, because that's how I like to sort of introduce it to clients. Marketing mix modeling is an advanced measurement technique. So it analyzes the correlation between your marketing efforts, external factors, on your resulting conversions. So it's a sort of comprehensive approach to help you see the bigger picture of how different elements of your marketing strategy work together, and also with those external factors as well. So external factors can be things like weather, pop concerts, sporting events, national holidays, and so on. They all typically impact a business one way or another. And then on the other hand, you've got last touch attribution, which is a simpler method. It assigns the full credit for a conversion to the final touch point before the consumer converts. So while this approach is straightforward, it doesn't provide the same in-depth insight as MMM. Now, this isn't to say that last touch attribution is bad, it's just fundamentally simpler. MMM, by contrast, is a more sophisticated method that offers a deeper understanding of your marketing impact.
Thanks, Gary. This is really insightful. I particularly like the part that this marketing mix modeling includes the impact of external factors, which for many marketers who are very narrowly focused on simply registering a download, a conversion, set of events, and that mindset does not allow them to see the bigger picture. Now, in your experience, what are the key steps for implementing marketing mix modeling in a company's marketing strategy? Can you share some examples where MMM significantly contributed to growth?
Yeah, of course. So key steps are really, it is quite straightforward. There is a bit of a myth around marketing mix modeling that it's quite complex to implement. Now, it is complex. So if you're going to try and do it yourself, it can be quite complicated and can take a long time. But if you use a third-party supplier like AIM by Kochava, then it's relatively easy. It's straightforward. How to implement MMM is at a high level, you need to have some historical data from which the model is built. Now, typically, you'll be looking at least 1 year's worth of data. Ideally, 2 or 3 years worth of data is a data science product. So the more data the model has, the more robust and accurate your model will be. However, saying that, we have built models for clients with just under 1 year's worth of data, and their model's perfectly fine as well. So the first step to implementing it is making sure that you have the correct amount of data. The type of data that you need are really just it's your event funnel. So it's your conversion funnel. So for this audience in particular, we would be looking at the install event, the first registration, a free sign up, a purchase event, whatever those events are. It's different for each client. Each client uses different language, but those are the data points that you would require, and you would require historical data to build the model. To keep the model up to date, you would just need to have updated data, and that typically comes via your MMP. So your model and your model service provider should connect to your MMP. Now, even though we're a Kochava product, we're actually MMP agnostic, and that should be the same for most MMM suppliers as well. So actually, most of our clients are actually AppsFlyer, Adjust, Kochava, of course, and so on. So that's how you implement it. Examples of growth. So what an MMM does, its main objective is looking for maximum efficiency within your market. So what it's doing through lots of complex data science is in the background, it's looking for the point of diminishing returns across your media mix. So at which point should you stop spending on Facebook, on Google, on ASA and so on? Because no matter how much you spend on those platforms, you're not going to get any more return from them. But it will also identify where there's opportunity to scale up as well. So the other advantage to MMM is, of course, it can measure offline media as well. So you can view your offline media, let's just say TV and podcasts as well, and we would put into that bracket radio and so on. You can view that like for like alongside Facebook and Google and so on. So you'll be able to use the same measuring stick, in this case MMM, to measure the impact of your top of the funnel media on your bottom of the funnel sales and your conversion funnel. Typically, to answer the second part of the question, typically if a client is solely dependent on last touch attribution, they can expect to see approximately 10 to 15% on average improvement in their performance, whichever optimization strategy that they want to optimize towards, whether that be a CPA, a day 7 ROAS, or 30-day ROAS, or revenue, or whatever it may be. You would be able to see improvements pretty quickly from only being dependent on last touch attribution.
That's really interesting, Gary. I particularly like the part when explaining that marketing mix modeling implies the ability to understand at what point you should stop using certain marketing channels. Because I bet for many marketers, it's not on their mind where they begin using certain channel like Facebook ads. They don't ask this question to themselves. Okay, under what circumstances I should stop using advertising on the Facebook ads? What should be the criteria? And this is really important to have in your plan. Otherwise, you're not going to be efficient with your marketing tools if you don't know at what point you should stop and what should be the criteria for that action.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, going back to the difference between last touch attribution and MMM, last touch attribution just simply tells you the last touch point and it assigns the 100% of the credit. It doesn't consider things like seasonality. It doesn't consider things like point of diminishing returns. It doesn't consider things like top of the funnel media having an impact on your bottom of the funnel media. A good example of that is that if a brand advertises on TV, you will see a spike in ASA. That's your TV advertising driving your ASA spend there. It will assign 100% of those sales conversions to ASA, whereas an MMM model will say, actually, no, ASA was responsible for maybe 30% of those, and TV advertising was responsible for 70% of those. So it would give you feedback on the relationship between your different networks and your media mix.
Gary, what are the common challenges in adopting marketing mix modeling and how they can be overcome? What future trends do you see in MMM?
The common challenges are the biggest one is is probably just old mindset. We've been in this industry for many years, and last touch attribution is the standard form of measurement, and it's been around for 12, 13 years or so. So quite often companies are testing MMM but they don't want to believe the data because they've maybe built lifetime value models of their last touch attribution. They've got lots of different business models which will have to change. So it's a change of mindset. It's being able to view your marketing results through a different lens, which is what MMM is going to give you. That's the biggest challenge is kind of attitude and mindset. Typically, if a client does get in touch with us or we get in touch with them and they show interest, they typically do have the right mindset. But there can be some naysayers, let's say other stakeholders within that group. Secondly, I suppose the challenge is it is complex. It is hard to understand. It's MMM is rooted in very sophisticated data science and machine learning, and we're marketeers, so it can be complex. But one of the problems that we addressed with our product is, as I said at the top of the show, MMM has been around for decades, but it's traditionally been the responsibility of data scientists and maybe marketing analysts as well to produce the model. The problem with that is that the output wasn't very actionable for marketeers. So they would need a data scientist to help them interpret that data. And quite often the output of a model wasn't very realistic. It would maybe suggest cut all of your spend on search or this or that or whatever it may be. It wouldn't understand the domain of digital marketing. Whereas now with the new models like AIM and others in the market, the output should be very actionable and it should be very familiar to marketeers. It should show you the metrics and the KPIs that you're familiar with, and it should give you an output which is actionable within your marketing mix. I think that the second part of the question, Art, was it future trends?
Future trends, that's right.
Yeah. Well, I hope that marketing mix modeling starts to become a bit of a standard. I mean, it is a hot topic. Obviously, that's what my world's consumed by. So I see everything. So, but it seems to be gathering pace. There's a lot more suppliers in the market, and there seems to be a genuine interest from the digital marketers and the industry as a whole. Whereas if we went back a year ago and we said the words MMM, you would be sort of looked at as with blank faces. But because of the competition in the market, including ourselves, there's a lot more content out there now. There's a lot more people educating the benefits of it and so on and so forth. I mean, we've seen, and our clients have seen, fantastic results. So once that starts to gather momentum and more case studies start to come to the market, you would hope that certain more advertisers would start to adopt it. So future trend is it becomes a standard.
It's fascinating, Gary. It always starts with people, with their perception, how conservative they are. Are they willing to change something in the way they're doing business? They may believe that their mantra should be, don't fix it if it's not broken, but they may not realize that it is broken. It can be better. It can be improved.
Yeah.
This is great. Okay, Gary, this is the first part of the show. We're done with it. And because it's your first time on the Business of Us podcast, I have a second part where every newcomer, I ask a few quick questions so we can know you a little bit better.
Yep.
Here we go. So what smartphone do you have now? Are you being on one side all the time or been switching back and forth between iOS and Android?
No, I'm strictly iOS. I'm not too much of a mobile phone geek. I'm on the iPhone 15 Pro, and I'll probably be on that for the next couple of years.
Lucky for you, soon you will be testing Apple Intelligence iPhone Pro.
Well,
iPhone
I don't
15
know.
Pro.
They say that it's maybe not coming to Europe as quickly as the rest of the world.
Good point. Yeah, that's a good point. Unfortunately, that's the case. It may be delayed. Okay, let's jump back in time. What was your first mobile phone?
The first one, now I can't remember the actual model, but I'm an old man. I'm almost 50 years old. So mobile phones weren't around even when I was in my late teens and early 20s, but I do remember it being an Ericsson phone. And then Ericsson were quickly, I think they were acquired by Sony and become Sony Ericsson. And then I had a Sony Ericsson phone, but soon after, probably the phone that I remember the most having the biggest impact would be the Nokia 3310. That was back in the day when the best thing, the greatest feature of the phone was how small it was, whereas now we've gone the opposite direction.
Exactly. Yeah, Ericsson. I used to have Sony Ericsson phone as well, with the funny blue screen.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was it.
the smaller the better.
Yeah, exactly.
That was the mantra. All right, back to present. So imagine you've left your smartphone at home. You're out. What would be the most missing feature for you?
That's an easy one. Google Maps. I pretty much use it for everything. So getting around, I travel a lot with work. Getting around cities, it's an essential application for me. And of course, it means that you can type in where's the best pizza in San Francisco or wherever you may, and Google reviews have become pretty reliable now as well. So it has all sorts of features. Plus, it has all of the public transport information on there and so on.
Exactly, it's really handy. I kind of roll my eyes when I can see printed maps hanging
Yeah.
in the on the buses. Like, guys, what are you doing? Google
Yeah.
Maps was invented years and years ago. Okay, next question. What new technologies are you most excited for your phone? For you specifically, perhaps not something trendy and flashy, but what feature, hardware, and software will make your smartphone a better tool for you?
Yeah, I mean, you've already mentioned it, which is, the integration of ChatGPT into the Apple hardware and software. Siri isn't great. I use ChatGPT all the time. That would probably be my second app that I miss. So AI. So I'm looking forward to the integration between those two services when they eventually happen.
Great. Before I let you go, how can people get in touch with you and get more information about what you do?
Sure, yeah. Thanks for asking. And the easiest way really is to go onto our aimplatform.io website. There's plenty of ways to get in contact with us there. Of course, you can link in to me as well, Gary Danks, GM for AIM at Kochava, so you can link into me there. But the easiest way, of course, to get more information and lots of different ways to contact us is through the website. So that's aimplatform.io.
This is great, Gary. Thank you so much for your time and coming on our show. Thank you. Bye bye.
Well, thanks for having me. Bye.
And that was Gary Danks, General Manager at AIM at Kochava. To listen to more episodes, subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube podcasts. Just search for Business of Apps and you will find us easily. Remember, we release episodes on Mondays. So subscribe and you will be able to get new episodes on your smartphone, tablet, or computer as soon as we release them. And please don't forget to leave us a review or comment on iTunes. It is highly appreciated. And all episodes will also be available on businessofapps.com. Thank you for listening. See you next week.